we know that there are 9 circumstances in which husband and wife should not be intimate. And the hezbollah, the reason is because it affects the child. So the moshel, if a man has decided that he's going to divorce his wife, they're not allowed to be together because she might get pregnant, and then that child is going to suffer. So until recently, hat man gemeint, suffer. The kid is something, beruchni is dakis, the dakis, but it's going to be a ben gerushas halev. So how much effect does that have already? Something mystical, not negel poil. Now we know that it Pashut affects the gashmias of the body of the child. So what used to sound mystical is Pashut physical fact, medical facts today. They're saying that many children today are, they call it irresponsible, reckless, careless. They'll do things that are mamish dangerous, and it doesn't bother them. Not because they're so brave, but because life doesn't mean anything to them. So if life ends, it ends. They're not nispal. They traced it down when abortion became legal. Suicide in children, young children, became increased, either accidental or intentional. And their svara is, once abortion became legal, every other woman who found that she was pregnant considered having or not having. It became an option. When the mother is thinking, either I'll keep the child or I won't let it live, the baby hears that. And the baby is born and grows up with a feeling, either I'll live or I won't live. It's an option. So that the effect is direct and very real. So there are 9 things. I remember exactly what the 9 things are. Eish's Chachma talks about it. If you're angry, if you're drunk, if you're half asleep, if there's no lock on the door, they all have one thing in common, and that is a negative effect on the baby. So l'moshel, if the parents, b'shas maisa, are worried about something else, they're thinking about something else. And befrat, if the man is thinking about someone else, the child is going to be a miserable kid, a tortured kid. Wherever he is, he'll want to be someplace else. His head will be in one place, his heart will be in another place. He's not a miyushiv dikya. In very simple language, he won't be able to pay attention. He'll have ADD. Because if he was created that way, then that's what he's going to suffer from. So what they all have in common, these 9 things, is that the kavanah is not complete. Presence of mind is not complete. And if you don't have presence of mind, then the result is not exactly what you want it to be. Sometimes the problem is not a lack of some ingredient, but the presence of some ingredient. So the marshal, if there's no lock on the door, there's a little danger. You could get interrupted. There's a heightened excitement, but that excitement is not what makes a baby. So it's the wrong ingredient. So it's like putting pepper into your challah. Pepper is very nice, but not for challah. I'm using the mashal of challah because challah se shalom. Making a baby is like making challah. If you put in the wrong ingredient, it's just as bad as if you don't put in the right ingredient. So I remember hearing from a Chassid Shadid at a Chassan, I think I mentioned it. He stopped the Chassan by the dancing. Stops the Chassan, he calls him over. I don't think this happens too often, but it should. And he says to the Chassan, "Du bist a Chosid or der Misnagid?" The guy said, "What do you want from me?" He said, "Ich will wissen, bist a Chosid or Misnagid?" He says, "Yeah, I'm a Chosid." He says, "Do you know the difference? What's the difference between a Chosid and a Misnagid?" The guy said, what do you... Say what you want to say. He said, "I'll tell you the difference. A Chosid, a Misnagid, is very, very careful and very concerned about the 2 weeks when you're not allowed to touch. It is muzhar, zohir, machmir. A Chosid is very careful and very worried about the 2 weeks that you are allowed. This is such an important nekuda. Because the attitude is, I'm a megman, no problem. I'm a tarnished, okay, you have to know exactly why, what, how much, but I'm a meg. Hefkerwelt. That is so bad. That's so bad. If you are allowed, it means you are engaging in a relationship and you are making a baby. Now you have to be worried. This is scary. This you have to do right. Generally, we say that the Sur Meirah is Hecher, has a maila over the Asay Teiv. Because it's more bittul, the Asay Teiv is not as bittul-dik, whatever. That's an Avedis Hashem. In a relationship, the Asay Teiv is much more important. Even with the Eibishter. Mitzad, the relationship, the Asay Teiv is much more important. Mitzad Avedas Hashem, Avedas Eved, there the Sur Meirah is higher and more important. Yeah, makes sense? You can say no. Yeah. You can say no. So, if a chosin, in chosin class or kala class, if the whole emphasis is on the harchaka and the isur and the mikveh and the, you have half a story, not even half. You don't have a picture of what you're doing, of what it is. The ikeh concern should be, now that you know what you're not allowed, the ikeh concern is, when you are allowed, how do you get it right?